You're going to need to get on the screen. Hello and welcome to this April edition of the Solutio Hour Power. My name is Al Urach, one of the owners of Solutio. With me today is a very special guest, Travis Gear, also one of the owners. And we're here to talk about whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. So
we branded ourselves well.
We have well. Very nice.
Well done.
Totally planned.
Called you this morning.
Just like every morning. So to ask questions, basically this is as good as you make it. So we need good questions and then we can give good answers. Otherwise, who knows what we'll end up talking about, or we'll just end the broadcast.
The NFL schedule came out today, so I can talk all day.
Yeah. How many does Kansas City plan to lose this year?
They will win them all. All of them.
Yeah, very good.
Especially against the Patriots, for any of our New England friends out there.
Yeah, they don't watch this. Neither does anyone else. Okay, so you can submit questions to al@solutiosoftware.com. I need to probably put that somewhere. I don't know that I can put things on screen, but I'll just do these two things. And then also you can go to solutiosoftware.com/power, where you're probably watching this. And let me share my screen and you can see those. So there they are. al@solutiosoftware.com is the email address if you want to email in a question, or you can also just make a chat there, solutiosoftware.com/power, and submit a question there. It'll probably ask you to create a discuss account, or you can log in with Facebook or whatever, but you can ask questions there. Would be just fine. We'll be regularly refreshing those screens and yeah, to get different comments, to get questions. Okay, stop that action. Get back to us. Okay, so one question I did have submitted was from Jane from the Belleville Diocese. So they launched a brand new website here in the past few days, maybe last week or so. And so we are going to take a look at, let's take a look at their site. Here we are. So Diocese of Belleville. And basically the question is, under the About Us tab, there is a contact us and an email to info@diobell.org. Where does this go? Okay, so I'm going to kind of make a little segue into another question here as well, just to kind of help folks understand how some of this works. But basically, any email address, if we're taking care of it, that would be done in the configuration of your Google Apps account. There's a section there for groups that you can log into. However, in this particular case, the Diocese of Belleville, you guys handle your own email. So there's going to be an IT staff member there that is going to be able to answer that. The reason why a lot of times, so this may be just a remnant of something that actually shouldn't be there. The reason that people might put in an info at is generally it's good policy to have a generic email, because that role may change, or who that may go to may change. And so to have some kind of generic is a good idea. Typically what people will do though is have it, basically it's an alias. It's they email that address, but it goes to somebody else. But again, we can't tell you that because we don't have your email set up. If we were doing that in Google Apps, we'd be able to tell you what that is. But and sometimes in some systems like Google system, you can have it go to multiple places at the same time, which works as well. Some people will they will put behind a wall what that email address is, so that way it gets emailed to someone else.
When you say put it behind a wall,
So it was going to show an example, but I have to find one. Which time might be one? I just need to contact us. You put it behind a form. Oh, here, maybe this one. Here we go. Okay, so let me share my screen here.
Makes sense.
There we go. All right. Some people get pretty weirded out by putting email addresses out there at all. And that's a legitimate concern for some. Quite honestly, when folks are using Google Apps, we don't, we advise them to go ahead and put their email address. Basically, if you don't put your email address, you make it harder for spammers to spam you, but you make it harder for people to actually contact you, right? So if you do weird things like you put your name or your first part of your email address, and then instead of the @ symbol, you put the words @ and then you put the suffix to your email address. There's all kinds of different clever things that you can do. The thing is the spammers know better. They know how to crack all of that or detect when you're trying to be clever about things. So if somebody's really serious about crawling through your website, they're going to find that stuff anyway. So you might as well make it easy for people to contact you that actually are trying to contact you. This really comes down to having good spam protection. So Google a long time ago, mentioned them a lot today. They bought Postini, which was kind of world-class for spam protection, and they've continued to revise that. So the spam protection is so good that go ahead and put your email address out there because they're not going to be able to get to it anyway. So anyway, that's our advice there. But if you do want to protect it and want to put it behind a particular item, you can do that. This is called a contact in our system. So you see here where they've got information as far as the address and phone number and such. And then they have this contact form where people will fill out their name, what their email is, the subject of the email, and then the message. And then we have these annoying things that we've also put out here called a CAPTCHA, which stands for computer. It's basically to prove that you're human.
That way bots and robots don't come in and
it's harder for a computer to pass that test. Now I'm feeling really bad in my computer science. Give me the acronym, goofball. Completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. Wow, that's
quite
the computer science acronym. A Turing test. Do you know what a Turing test is?
I do.
What's that? What do you
it's a big rabbit hole to go down, the Turing test.
Well, nobody's asking questions, so.
Well, we had a viewer.
Oh, we did? Oh, killed that one.
Well, one thing though, I think, so hopefully for Belleville that answered that question pretty well. Since we don't take care of the email, we can't really tell you where it's going. But if you want it changed, then it can be changed to somebody else. But like on a form like this, potential uses that I could see would be like if you wanted to, let's say it was at a parish level, ask Father a question. And rather than it going, if somebody wanted to like moderate it, then they could collect the questions and then pass along to the pastor what they actually, what they want to get answered in a particular order. Or at the diocesan level, again, you could, if you want to send it to multiple people, you could have a form that gets filled out and then pushed along to multiple people. But otherwise, I think Al's right. The ease of accessibility is what makes the web powerful and useful. So rather than, making it harder for people to touch base with you, actually getting them to get to you quicker is going to prompt better communication and flow of information. So,
yeah. You avoided my question. What a Turing test is.
I did. I turned the corner on that one and ran.
No, I don't like that. Turing was famous for
he broke the Nazis' code.
Well, yeah, but the Turing test. He's a computer scientist, one of the first, and
I would say that was a big deal. the Nazis.
Yeah, that's great. That really doesn't. And you want to talk about me making an arc? That's
Well,
that's an arc. But he basically said that computer, like kind of the judgment of computers and how that they've made it to a certain level is that that a person, if you were chatting with them, over phone or whatever else, you couldn't tell whether or not it was a computer or a person. And so if the computer passed that test and it was like a computer, then they had made it to that level. So a Turing test has always been something that if the computer can pass the test, whether or not it appears as a human or not. So anyway, that's a Turing test. I don't remember the guy's first name.
Alan?
Alan, yep, Alan Turing. Anyway, okay, so beyond that, here's a contact in the system. It is located, for those that are wondering, underneath components and then contacts. And you'll see them listed there. Open that up. Open up because this is that particular contact that's on that page. And then basically what the system does is it uses the email address that's listed. And then behind the scenes, there is something here called a contact form. And on this particular page, we tell it to show that contact form. A lot of times we'll have it hide that, so that way it just shows the email address. But in this case, we'd have it show. And that's where in the end of the game, you get this little contact form here. And there's another setting in here elsewhere. Is that a train? There's another setting that we place into here. I think maybe we just have it on our end of whether or not it has a CAPTCHA test. I think by default, we now set them up to have that. But in case yours doesn't have a CAPTCHA test and you're getting a lot of spam, then that is an option that we can turn on for your site now as well. It uses the reCAPTCHA thing. Which, have you seen Google's new CAPTCHA test?
Is it drawing?
No, it's I think maybe they had a stint of that, but now they do a little check mark. So basically it says, I'm not a robot. And then you click on it. You would just click on the box. So it makes it super simple. And basically the way they're doing that is they're like approximating the way that a user or that a person would move their mouse and the way that they would click. So it's specific enough that, again, that's going to change. That'll change. It always does. As soon as the computers figure out how to mimic the computer behavior or the human behavior, then they'll change that test. But right now, that's pretty sweet. We don't have it on our sites yet, but it might be something we can. It's kind of an open standard, so it's something we bring on someday. So there we go.
Excellent.
That was our question. Any other questions?
Let me look.
Oh, I gotta check my email too.
Looks like we're no more yet. They've been submitted here. How about that?
Dicey Spellville. Jane is asking, where do I go to log in? Who's apparently on one viewer? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how other viewers.
Jane.
Hey, Jane. All right. So as far as logging in, I'm not exactly sure on the question, but as far as logging into the administrator, for all of our sites, really it's been the standard for quite a while now, is clicking on, so going to any page on your website, scrolling all the way down to the bottom, and there should be a padlock icon at the bottom right corner is how we do it. So click on that little padlock icon, takes you to a login screen, put in your username and password, and then we're off to the races. So there we go. So I don't know if that answers your question, Jane. Hopefully so.
Yeah, again, Jane, if the question is more about the email and going back to what you had asked previously regarding where the info at emails are going to, then that might be a better question to discuss with whoever administrates your email system. But otherwise, yeah, for the site, it's going to be that padlock down at the bottom of the screen. You get to that on any page on the site.
All right. I don't see any other questions. I've answered them all. Completely answered. All
That's one
inquiries.
possibility.
I think so.
Al, are there any new techniques or things that you're seeing out there that you would throw out there to people as far as usefulness on websites, especially at
Sure.
the parish level?
That sounded
I thought you
rehearsed.
might have something to say.
That sounded rehearsed.
No,
Nope.
no, I always, everything's natural.
You're all natural. Well, something that's in my crawl. Actually, I have it up here somewhere. So, I don't know that I've showed this before, but maybe I have. So, one, as we go on and on in this game, we've been around for about 10 years, a little over 10 years now. 10, almost, okay.
A little over 10.
11-ish.
Yeah, get close to 11.
We've seen digital communication change in lots of different ways. It's manifested itself in different ways: emails, websites, apps, and all kinds of fun stuff. At its core, though, is these tools are all meant for communication. A perspective that some people will take is the fact that your website, is welcoming. We need to bring people in, show beautiful images. But while you can do all of those things, I would challenge the big thing is that it's a communication tool. And at the heart of that, it's a marketing tool. So if we treat it as such, you're going to use it in a different way. So there's different parishes that take this on to different degrees of, different levels of that particular philosophy. One that I think has done it really well is Blessed Sacrament in Wichita, Kansas. They are kind of a gold standard or an example parish that we throw out there a lot of the time. Blessed Sacrament, Wichita.com. I'll bring up their screen here in just a second. But the thing is with your website, as you probably are seeing on your analytics, if you're taking a look at them, paying attention to them, you are really getting mostly repeat visitors. And that doesn't surprise me at all. It's your parishioners that are coming back again and again and again to view your information. It's not just a constant stream of new people wanting to see your mass times or whatever else. They know what your mass times are. Certainly, we want to play to the audience, and we want to make sure that that's easy for them to see and get to. But that's not the primary purpose. The primary purpose of your site is to focus on those repeat visitors. So that changes your perspective a little bit. So let me bring up Blessed Sacrament site. So your website will take on a tinge more of not of a like a particular ministry or a product website, right? So Solutio's website's very different. We're selling a product. We are optimizing it for really a one-time use. Somebody comes there, sees our information, and chooses whether or not to work with us or see more information. At the parish level, you're optimizing for repeat use. So your model is much more like MSN.com or Fox News, CNN. You're going to see people come back again and again and again. You'd love for this to be part of a weekly or daily thing.
And it's also even like a current events site, right? Because like on those news sites, people are just coming to consume information, and then that's it. But for parishes in particular, and even for a lot of our organizations, Catholic organizations, the goal is to get them to come and be involved. Yes, you want them to consume the information and know what's going on, but more importantly, you want it to be information that can hopefully allow them to become more engaged in the life of your community, of your parish, of your, whatever your mission is there. So it is similar to those other news sites, but it's also it's almost like a Catholic current events and what can I get involved in type of a scenario as well.
Yeah, it's all about marketing. You're wanting to get people involved. That's the point of the site, is to let people know what it is that's available. And sometimes there is a little bit of a catalog component of that. If somebody is looking for a particular ministry in formation or prayer or service, like it's good to have a catalog of that. And so that's not very unique to Blessed Sacrament, but here's the way that they do it, which I think is very nice, is they have a catalog. So a picture for each one, what all the different opportunities are in this particular area, and then contact people, right? That's the primary information that they want to know. If they want to dig in a little further, then they can certainly click on read more, dig in, and know a few more details about that particular organization. If they want to look at prayer, they can go and see a catalog of all of the prayer opportunities. Again, name, contact information, phone number, those kinds of things listed all out. Again, Blessed Sacrament is not really unique in that. That's kind of a good thing to just have as a standard. They do it in a kind of a neat format. It's not just text and words, and it also kind of helps to pull out or draw attention to the contact people. What is unique about this particular site, though, is the volume of news. Okay, so you guys should see on my screen there different sliders of different things that are going on. They start with a welcome. They show stewardship forms. They show a couple of events that are going on here. This is your kind of really, really important news that you want to really draw attention to. This, a lot of our sites have these types of rotating images. We call them rotators or sliders. That's a great opportunity to bring real attention to different particular things. Okay. Then we have some quick links here to bring out, again, this is a clever way to put Mass times on your homepage without actually listing them out. Usually we advise parishes to either have a very big, like a large button that really points that out, or to actually lay them out on the front page. If you put a button, you can typically take up less space, but have all the same information there. So if I click on Mass times, now I can get to, the schedule and as much depth as you want there. So I realize some parishes' schedules are a little more intricate than others. Then down below, we see this volume of news. Here's the difficulty, is when you have lots of news, there's an inherent busyness that is just going to be there. And so you got to kind of keep that in. You got to play a balance, right? So we don't want to have nothing on our homepage, right? We can just list our address and phone number, right? That's super clean, right, but not super functional. On the other side of the case is links everywhere and pictures and just craziness. So where do we play the balance? So for them, this is very much structured after their bulletin. So we see hospitality, prayer, formation, and service. This is something that their parish, the pillars of stewardship that they really kind of, they really focus in on. When we look at their bulletin, we're going to see the same things. Okay, so we see a pastor's letter. We see a week at a glance, Mass intentions. And then we see this, again, this is how their bulletin is laid out. Pillar of hospitality, pillar of prayer. Go to the next page, pillar of formation, pillar of service. So because of this is the way that they've organized their site, they've organized their news in a similar fashion. So hospitality, prayer, formation, and service. And then in each one of these, they have all of the different events. Now, to really draw a little bit of extra attention, and I think, yeah, just a good way to, when people are scanning through your page and seeing what's new, putting a picture with every single story. It takes a little bit of extra effort, but I think completely worth it. Again, just if the story is important enough to put on your bulletin or your website, then I think it's important enough to go ahead and put a picture with it. And again, it really helps from the people that are scanning and seeing this website often. So what we see here, BS Generational Families, Senior Recognition Mass, Men's Club Royals Trip. If we look at their Pillar of Hospitality, we see Generational Families, High School Senior Celebration, Men's Trip. Some of these other things they have, put into different places, but on their website, or some of the news is actually even more up to date on their homepage. So say Divine Mercy is still relevant, but for their bulletin, no longer relevant. So, so you see a couple of modifications there. So, but that Divine Mercy thing is important. It'll still stay up there until the date passes. But what we see here is what Blessed Sacrament has done is every single news item that's in their bulletin is on their website. What this does is it creates a different attitude towards their website, right? At most parishes, when you go to the website, you're getting a fraction, you're getting a sneak peek, you're getting a summary view of what's going on. I think it's the mode of most parishes that if you want the full buffet of everything that's available or everything that's going on, the one and only source is the bulletin. Online is just usually some cherry picking of that. That's where we feel as Solutio, as the company, as the vision, is that has to change in order for your website to really become, or your digital presence to become, the hub of communication. If it's important enough to go into your bulletin, why isn't it important enough to go onto the website? So the idea here is every single piece of information that's on the bulletin gets to go into onto the website as well in one form or another. And then we can do kind of some interesting things with that as well. So,
and I think that this is something that, like, for a lot of parishes, they think, where would it all go? How would I get there? Like, there's all these hurdles in many parishes' minds about this. What's interesting is that there's a parish, we don't work with them, but they are in Maryland. They wrote the book, or members of their staff wrote the book, Rebuilt. And they took, I wish they were inspired by us, but we can't make that claim. But they believe this so much that they actually totally did away with their paper bulletin because they recognized the way to get these people is to make it accessible on the web and then push it to them so that they will come back, right? Now, we also understand not every parish is in the same demographic setting or whatever. We're not saying that you could do this at every parish in the country, but the overall point is when you take the information, you put it there, and people can trust that it's there, they're going to be more likely to go to that location, in this instance, the website, to find the information. And that's, that's the main thing. That's the core component. Once a parish or a staff member decides, that makes sense, I buy into that, then we can start to remove the roadblocks of where does it go, how does it get there, and the things that can stand in the way from getting from the point of I believe this to it becomes a reality.
We've now hopped up to four viewers.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about that. That brings, so just a small arc here. It doesn't matter how good that Travis and I are, or actually how bad. I guess our viewers will start to leave, so don't leave. No, we're having fun. But it doesn't matter how good that we are. If we didn't promote it well enough, nobody's going to show up. So just like your parish or diocesan events or whatever ministry you're running, it doesn't matter how good your program is. It doesn't matter. That has nothing. That doesn't really have anything to do with the number of people that show up, unless it's a repeat event and the word got out. But any kind of new event or anything that people aren't aware of, like, it doesn't matter how great it could be. We could be on fire. We could be much more entertaining. But it wouldn't matter if we were more entertaining or not. It wouldn't matter, because people, if they never tuned in to the beginning, then they wouldn't know. I mean, I have a fabulous, wonderful guest.
Oh, me?
Host. Yeah.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. I didn't tell anybody about it. So anyway, that's a little lesson for us.
If you had put out there that I was going to be in this episode, then I think that we'd have at least 5 viewers.
Could be as many.
Could be.
Let's not go too far. So, like, a little bit of a lesson for us that we need to look at the way that we promote this event if we want folks to show up. I thought about doing Facebook Live, but I haven't really had any experience with that yet. But I should try it. I don't know. Facebook's pushing it pretty hard. Anyway, so just a little bit of a lesson for you that we're experiencing. You can learn from is promoting those events.
And think about it from this standpoint. Like, if any of you out there have ever done a capital campaign, then you know. I mean, if no matter what company you worked with, assuming you work with the company, which I think most folks do, you didn't not tell people about it and just hope that they would see the signage around the parish.
We put it in the bulletin.
Right.
It's in the bulletin.
That would never, ever, ever happen because you need to go out and engage folks. And so the same, whether it's
they've got posters, they've got
mass announcements, testimonials,
they've got mailings that come at you.
So that's really pushing it.
Most of those companies, they're just really good marketers.
Right. They're strategic in what they're doing. And so that's our hope, is that our parishes start to think about that within the digital realm as well. And not just the website, but their email. If they're going to do things like have a social media presence, which we encourage, but all those things work together. If you do some form of texting, if you have an app, why do you have an app? What are you using it for? But to have a comprehensive mindset of, okay, here's how we're going to push our information in digital fashion, because you got the print taken care of, like every parish does. You've got the bulletin. Most of you know what you're doing there. But now, what are the next steps you're going to take to actually make a dent in how you're communicating with folks digitally?
And I think the reason why to do it in this neighborhood is just from the sheer fact of its efficiency. So the ability to reach more people with less effort is just pretty darn significant, which is why it makes best sense to go into this method. It's not because, you guys have better things to do with your day, and it doesn't need to be some kind of contest over what's better or what's worse. But in the end, that's what we believe as a company, what we've taken on, because we think that it is the most efficient means. Because once something is put in one place, it can be distributed in multiple ways, including email, app, social media, website, with less to do. So that's where we're going.
Okay, so this all kind of segued off of the Blessed Sacrament. And for those of you that are new viewers, if you have questions and you want to submit them, you can do so by either commenting down below if you're on our page, solutiosoftware.com/power, or you can email Al at solutiosoftware.com, and he'll see that. So either way, otherwise we'll continue just kind of going down this path of what you could do to enhance the way what you're already doing. Because obviously anybody that's watching this is already doing something. Now it's a matter of
they're watching this video.
Yes, thank you.
It's pretty happy.
Thank you. That's good. I did have a quick question.
Yeah.
There's a roll of toilet paper back here in your office. Is there something that I should know about that takes anyhow? I'm sorry.
Nope.
I just know that's viewable to all of our viewers right now. So, all right.
Well, I'm a man of efficiency. So what I mean by that is that it's cheaper to buy toilet paper and use it when I have sniffles as opposed to Kleenex. Yeah. So
well, that's great.
There's that.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Blessed Sacrament.
So look at other things on their page here. So as we kind of scroll down, you see the Pastor's Corner, you see the latest podcast. So you see the calendar, upcoming events, even all the way down, mass intentions are put onto their page. So this is something a lot of parishes don't do. So what's nice about this is this is most up to date. So whenever the schedule's created, it gets plugged into here. And then this information, again, it's digital first. Then this information goes to the website, it goes to the app, and it goes to, and ultimately to their bulletin, because they can copy and paste it there. Another thing that they have, this comes from their app, is their stewardship of treasure, right? So on their website,
you mean the bulletin?
I'm sorry, on their bulletin, they've got this little corner where you've got, whatever their budget is and stuff like that, and their surplus or deficit. On their app, and they probably need to put this on their website. I'll zoom this in. So you can kind of see it more of an app view. But we don't have to do things in we're not restricted, right, by the way that it's laid out. We don't have to just put it as two little lines, there as far as what the budget is. We can go and do a little, if somebody's actually interested in the details of the giving, they could go in and see what it looks like per month. They could go see history of 2015, 2016. They could even see the monthly data, right? So we can lay out a chart of those things. We can see the weekly. What's the tithing versus the budget? Are they meeting the demand there? So if somebody actually wants to dig in to the finances, and that's important to them, right? They can tell a heck of a lot more through some of those graphs that are on their app than in just a straight, couple of numbers. Again, that just speaks to the ability and flexibility of things that are digital. And again, all they have to do when next week comes, how we have it set up for them, let me get back to that, is on the data tab, I have it set up where they just plug in the number. So they plug it, they go into the spreadsheet, and every time they don't have to rework this, they don't have to repost nothing. All they do is they just type in the numbers and they're done. Website's updated, the graphs are updated, everything's done. And people get a much more of a rich experience there. So what's the result of all of this? So actually, I haven't updated this a little bit. These quarters, 2017. Yeah, that's the beginning of the quarter. So this is the last quarter or last half. Yeah. Okay, these are halves. So first half, second half of 2016, first half, second half of 2015. But basically, in second half of 2015, so it'd be this little point here, is when they started implementing the new format and posting all news items. So a good way, and again, you see more traffic on the second half of the year than you do the first half of the year, just how holidays and everything falls. That's pretty typical. So really what you want to look at is this data point here compared to this data point here, right? So a pretty good rise in traffic. And then look at the second half of 2015 versus the second half of 2016, and you see a tremendous rise there. So what we're seeing is, kind of a little bit of a flat area. We've definitely seen some rises, but we see a pretty dramatic rise as we start to really put most of their news items onto the site. We're starting to see, a huge uptick. And again, I really think that that's because of enhanced presence. It really makes their website a lot more useful. Here's another great graph to illustrate the point. Refresh that. So this is, the blue is the previous year and the red is the current year, right? So they went from 5,000 visits to 8,100 in December. January went from 42 to 65. So we're even seeing an acceleration, I think, of this now that this is more of a consistent methodology for them. Again, different parts of the year are going to be seen in different ways, but just comparing it month to month, an incredible growth. Yeah. As that started to be more and more of a thing. And so what in the end game, again, we're not just doing this for its own purpose, right? Who cares if people actually visit a website? Who gives a darn? What this means is people are finding it more useful. They're coming back more often, and then they're seeing this information more often, so they know what to be involved in. These numbers. This parish has about right around 1,100 families. So, you're seeing people coming back 6 and 7 times a month. Yeah. That's almost twice a week. People are coming back. They are not coming back to the site to see the same thing again and again and again. They're not. If this never changed, there wouldn't be a reason to come back. And that's what you would see in most parishes' web traffic is really being very stale after they initially launch. So the amount that's updated, the way that you're approaching this communication makes a huge difference in how these tools are utilized. Our goal from the beginning for Solutio has been to make these tools easy to use, to give you good support, so that way, we can help to make this possible. But in the end game, ultimately the parish or the diocese or whatever organization ends up choosing how these tools are used. We can certainly point you to good examples, but yeah, that's really up for you to. If you need a new layout, if you want to kind of take this approach more seriously, certainly let us know. Most of the clients that were coming on board were getting a little bit more aggressive about that, and to kind of tell them how this works. And then I think because we've seen results than we have in the past. Also, people that are going through redesigns, it's often a topic of conversation. But again, we're going to try stretching you as much as we can in that, but we also know sometimes that makes folks a little uncomfortable. But in the end, that's what we want. In the end, we just want to see better and more informed parishioners, and we feel like this is an excellent way to go. It's very efficient, and it's something that's achievable by any parish. If you're putting together a 10-page bulletin, you've got time to update 5-6 stories a week on your website. It's just you have to put priority on it. You might have to shift where resources go.
I was visiting with a parish in, well, I won't say where, but they're one of the largest 5 parishes in the country, and they have over 30,000 Catholics in the parish.
Well, that kind of limits it down to who it is.
Well, you have to know your numbers, I guess, to know. Anyhow, the gentleman that I was talking to, he spends 2 full days a week, 2 full 8-hour days, working on the bulletin. And again, like I recognize that there's a total need in a certain place for that tool and for that piece of communication. But he said as much, it limited the amount of time that he was really able to give good attention to the site. And so that's no surprise. And what we're asking, or what we're encouraging, is that, as we see trend shift, which we've already seen and we're continuing to see, that the church, Big C Church, continues to shift as well, which is not always easy, never has been. But because this shift will happen faster and faster, if our parishes, if our organizations, if our dioceses are willing to let us help them shift quicker, that's what we're here for. And that's what I was getting at, is that if you're out there listening to this, you're like, Hal and Travis, they don't say a lot right, but they said that right. And you want to learn more about how you could make better use of your own site, all you got to do is reach out to us and ask, because we're happy to do so. And we don't push this at people real hard, because we do recognize that it is going to be a challenge. It's going to take a bit of a mentality shift. But for the ones that are excited about the idea, you want to see Al get real amped up, you just give him a call and tell him, hey, this is something we want to take a look at and potentially move more towards this direction, making the site a more comprehensive piece of communication.
Yeah, we didn't get into business to set up pamphlets for parishes that unchanging, like that's not been our perspective from the beginning. The way that we set it up from 11 years ago is not for us to do the updating. It's for us to do all of the stuff behind the scenes and do all the nerdy stuff and the mundane stuff. So that way we can really unleash parishes to be able to update their own information, organize it in such a way that they can make it a real communication tool. Is this thing a pamphlet, or is it a communication tool?
So we've got about 15 minutes left here, and we can rant for a long time. We're good at that.
Well, we did that pretty well.
It's true. But if for those of you that are out there watching, if you've got a question, we'd love to hear it from you. So again, you can go to solutiosoftware.com/power, or you can email al@solutiosoftware.com. And if you've got, it can be relevant to your site. It can be about digital communication in general. But if you've got one that sparked because of our conversation here, or that you've been wondering about, throw it our way. And we're happy to talk about it.
Yeah, maybe in our next form when we send that out. I think having good questions really, we took one small question and then we beat it to death for the last 45 minutes.
I like to think of it as we brought it to life.
We really
Instead of
we
beating
gave it
to death.
full light
That's right.
from all angles, and then did some arcs. But maybe we need to have a link on there that says submit your question.
That's a good one.
And we could do like a job form thing. That might be good to help out with that. But again, doesn't matter how awesome we are if we don't properly get the word out. So maybe people are just tired from Easter and on vacation.
It is the week after
So
Easter. It's
a lot of priests are on retreats, getting away. So maybe a bunch of priests used to listen to us. I don't know. I've had like 15, usually pretty consistently. So yeah, there you go. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this week's or this month's show.
I'll refresh one more time and see if we got any other questions.
If you have other questions, please let us know if this is valuable or what particular lines of thought that we want to go down to. Again, if this isn't something that people find useful, then we'll move on to another tool or something else. But
we appreciate you joining us for this time here today. Absolutely.
For sure.
So, and if we didn't cover something you want it brought up for the next hour of power, again, just shoot out an email, or you can always submit the question. This page stays up all the time, so you can always put it there, and we'll catch it in the next edition.
So probably have another show here in about a month. Middle of May will be our plan. So also, if there's better times of the day that work for people, I'm open to that too. I tried 2 p.m. I think last time around, and there's a few less. It seemed to be more folks showed up in the morning. So
cool.
Anyway, there we go. All right. We'll take care, everyone. And I'm sure we'll be talking to many of you soon. All right.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.